Chosen one. Listen very carefully. You've reached a stage in your journey where the people who once watched your every move, studied your every step, and tried to predict your every decision can no longer follow you. They've lost access. They've lost insight. They've lost visibility. And this isn't because you became secretive, it's because Allah elevated you to a level their eyes, hearts, and intentions were never meant to reach. Your growth became silent, internal, spiritual, happening in places where their envy cannot penetrate and their calculations cannot function. The same people who once thought they had you figured out are now confused, frustrated, and even disturbed by the new version of you. You're unpredictable, untraceable, and untouchable because Allah shifted you from being a person they could monitor to a soul He Himself is guiding. And today, we're going to reveal 7 powerful lessons that explain exactly why they can't track you anymore and why your growth drives them absolutely crazy. Chosen one, the very reason they can't track you anymore is because you outgrew the version of you they built inside their minds, the outdated image they relied on to predict your reactions, your weaknesses, your triggers, your steps, and even your dreams. They studied the old you, the you who doubted yourself, the you who over-explained, the you who tolerated disrespect, the you who was still learning your worth. But what they never expected was the divine transformation Allah placed inside your heart, a transformation that didn't happen loudly or publicly, but silently, internally, and spiritually, in the depths of your soul where only Allah sees. And now that you've stepped into the newest version of yourself, stronger, wiser, calmer, spiritually awakened, their old calculations no longer work, their assumptions collapse, their judgments lose power, and their ability to monitor you completely disappears because they were tracking who you used to be, not who you became. They still expect you to break where you once broke, react where you once reacted, chase what you once chased, settle where you once settled, fear what you once feared, but now you move with purpose, with dignity, with silence, with tawakkul, and with a spiritual maturity they cannot understand or control. You no longer respond to the same triggers, you no longer entertain the same conversations, you no longer attach to the same people, and you no longer live according to the limitations they placed on you. And this evolution confuses them, irritates them, and even threatens them, because it exposes how wrong their perception of you always was, how small their expectations were, and how limited their understanding of your destiny was. For Allah raised you in ways they never saw coming, so now they are watching a person they can no longer read, predict, or contain, a person guided by Allah alone, a person whose growth has outpaced their imagination and escaped their sight completely. Chosen one. One of the greatest reasons they can't track you anymore is because during the most crucial season of your transformation, Allah intentionally hid you. He pulled you away from people, from noise, from expectations, from crowds, and from environments where your growth would have been interrupted, sabotaged, judged, or misunderstood. You didn't isolate yourself because you were weak. You were pulled into divine seclusion because Allah was rebuilding you in a way that required privacy, protection, and spiritual silence. And while people assumed you were losing, failing, or disappearing, the truth is that Allah was working on you behind the scenes, strengthening your heart, sharpening your vision, purifying your soul, healing your wounds, elevating your mindset, and preparing you for a level they were never meant to witness. And because they weren't present during the construction, they have no understanding of the final result. They can see the glow, but they can't trace the struggle. They can sense your strength, but they can't track the process. They can feel your spiritual elevation, but they can't follow the path that led you there. Allah hid your tears, your breakdowns, your prayers at 3 a.m., your private battles, your moments of surrender, your reawakening, and your rebirth. Because had people seen your transformation too early, envy would have attacked it. jealousy would have suffocated it, and negativity would have tried to poison it. So Allah placed you in a season of invisibility, a spiritual cocoon where no one could interfere, predict, or influence your growth. And now that you have emerged with clarity, resilience, wisdom, and divine confidence, they are unable to understand what changed, when it changed, or how it changed. They simply know that the person who returned is not the person who disappeared, and that terrifies them because you no longer operate in places their eyes can reach or their minds can comprehend. For Allah hid you while He built you, and that is why they will never again be able to track your destiny. Stopped reacting from emotion and started responding from reflection, because once upon a time they knew exactly how to provoke you, how to pull you into drama, how to manipulate your feelings, how to push your buttons, and how to lure you into emotional traps. They depended on your old patterns, your sensitivity, your pure heart, your innocence, and your desire to explain yourself. But Allah elevated you to a level where your inner world became calm, disciplined, and spiritually anchored. And suddenly, the triggers that once controlled you lost their power. Instead of reacting instantly, you now pause, analyze, breathe, reflect, make dua, and think deeply before making any move. And that shift alone destroyed their ability to predict you, because a reactive person is easy to control, but a reflective person is impossible to manipulate. You no longer respond from pain, you respond from wisdom. You no longer rush into arguments, you withdraw into silence. You no longer defend your worth, you let Allah defend you. You no longer fight unnecessary battles. You preserve your energy for what aligns with your purpose. And this composure frustrates them because they depended on your emotional openness to study you. But now your peace has become your shield, your silence has become your strategy, and your spiritual maturity has become a barrier they cannot cross. Your reflection exposes their intentions, your patience ruins their plans, your calmness disarms their negativity, and your quiet strength leaves them confused, because they can no longer predict how you will respond, when you will respond, or if you will respond at all. Your new state of being is guided by Allah, not by impulses, and that transformation made you unreadable, untriggerable, and unreachable to those who once thrived on your reactions, which is exactly why your evolution drives them absolutely insane. Chosen one. One of the greatest and most spiritually powerful reasons they can no longer track you is because your entire operating system has changed. You no longer move from fear, insecurity, emotional reactions, or the need to control outcomes. You now move purely from tawakkul, from a deep, unwavering trust in Allah that terrifies anyone who once relied on your fears to predict or manipulate you, because before, they knew exactly what held you back. They knew which anxieties froze you, which doubts weakened you, which insecurities made you hesitate, and which wounds caused you to cling to the familiar, even when the familiar was destroying you. But now Allah has elevated you to a level where fear no longer has permission to dictate your decisions. You act even when you're afraid. You trust even when you don't see the path. You surrender even when the outcome is unclear. And you move forward even when the world expects you to stay stuck. And this confuses them because your next step is no longer shaped by your emotions. It's shaped by revelation, by dua, by intuition, by guidance from the unseen. And people cannot track someone who is being guided by Allah, because before, they could predict your behavior based on your emotional patterns. When you were scared, you hid. When you were uncertain, you hesitated. When you were heartbroken, you acted impulsively. When you were overwhelmed, you gave up too quickly. And when you felt alone, you settled for less than you deserved. But now, your trust in Allah has corrected all these impulses. You don't hide anymore because you know Allah is your protector. You don't hesitate because you trust His timing. You don't act impulsively because you've learned that rushing ruins divine blessings. You don't give up because you know every delay carries wisdom, and you don't settle because you understand your worth comes from Allah, not people. Your tawakkul has made you brave in ways they never imagined, patient in ways they can't understand, silent in ways that intimidate them, and calm in situations where they expected you to crumble, and, because of this, they can no longer read your moves. They set traps, but you don't walk into them. They create drama, but you don't react. They provoke you, but you stay silent. They expect you to fall apart, but you rise with dignity. They try to scare you, but you turn to Allah and become even stronger. And this spiritual evolution drives them crazy, because a person who moves by fear is easily controlled. But a person who moves by tawakkul is completely free, free from manipulation, free from emotional traps, free from worldly pressures, and free from the opinions of others. And when Allah becomes the one guiding your footsteps, writing your story, and shaping your decisions, no human being can decode your next move, follow your reasoning, or interfere with your destiny, making you invisible to their calculations and unreachable to their agendas. For your compass is no longer the noise of the dunya, it is the voice of Allah in your heart, and that is why they can no longer track you, predict you, or influence you, because you have stepped into a level of spiritual trust where only Allah can see the path ahead, and everyone else is left confused, powerless, and stunned by your divine growth. Chosen one, another profound reason they can no longer track you is because your spiritual frequency has risen to a level far beyond their reach, and people operating from low vibrations, envy, jealousy, gossip, ego, insecurity, manipulation, and negativity simply cannot access, understand, or attach themselves to someone who has elevated through pain, purified through trials, and transformed through the mercy of Allah. Your energy used to be accessible because you were still healing, still learning, still open, still unaware of the weight of your own light. But now Allah has raised your spiritual state so high that anyone with low intentions or dark hearts gets automatically repelled, exposed, or blocked from your life without you even having to say a word. And this drives them insane because they no longer know how to enter your world, influence your emotions, or drain your spirit the way they used to, since your aura, your presence, your silence, and your inner peace have become shields that Allah Himself placed around you. And you must understand something. Low vibrations thrive on chaos, confusion, gossip, and emotional instability. They feed on reactions, they depend on attention, and they grow through the weakness of others. But your elevation has stripped them of the access they once had, because now you respond calmly, you observe silently, you choose wisely, you walk away gracefully, and you protect your energy without guilt, and this creates a spiritual barrier they cannot cross. The truth is, when Allah purifies a heart, He raises its frequency. Your thoughts became cleaner, your intentions became purer, your mind became clearer, your heart became softer, and your soul became stronger. And this shift lifted you into a realm where the low-hearted cannot breathe, because your growth is oxygen for angels, but suffocation for demons. And they feel this shift without you speaking it. Your presence makes them uncomfortable. Your silence exposes their inner darkness. Your peace threatens their chaos. Your confidence dismantles their insecurities, and your progress shines a light on everything they avoided within themselves. You didn't change to impress anyone. You changed because Allah expanded you, refined you, strengthened you, and removed the heaviness that kept you tied to people who were never meant to follow you into your next chapter. And now, your energy is so protected, so elevated, and so spiritually aligned that those who operate from low vibrations simply cannot handle you. This is why you notice people falling away without conflict, why certain connections suddenly break, why people who once obsessed over your life can no longer look at you, Why they avoid your presence yet still feel threatened by your existence, because Allah has placed you on a frequency where their negativity cannot survive. Your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. Your healing exposes their unhealed wounds. Your discipline highlights their laziness. Your purity reveals their corruption. And your sincerity exposes their hidden intentions. And instead of rising to meet you, they withdraw, resent, or watch from a distance because they cannot match the vibration you now operate on. And this is exactly why they can't track you anymore. Your spiritual elevation has made you invisible to people who live in emotional darkness, because low vibrations cannot follow the path of someone guided by Allah, someone whose heart is filled with light, someone whose soul has been purified through hardship, someone whose mind is focused on purpose, and someone whose energy is protected by divine decree. And no matter how much they try to observe you, study you, analyze you, or copy you, they will always fail, because spiritual elevation is not something that can be imitated. It is something Allah grants, and Allah has granted it to you in a way that makes you too high for their low hearts, too elevated for their low intentions, and too guided for their low-level tactics, leaving them confused, powerless, and overwhelmed by the brilliance of your rise. Chosen one of the most powerful, divine, and spiritually transformative reasons they can no longer track you is because Allah has elevated your intuition to a level they cannot comprehend, predict, or manipulate. And this is not ordinary intuition. It is a sharpened inner knowing, a divine insight, a spiritual radar that Allah grants only to those He purifies through trials and raises through hardship. And now your heart sees what your eyes cannot. Your soul recognizes what your mind cannot explain. And your spirit detects truths long before they appear in the physical realm. You used to fall for people's words. Now you read their tone, their energy, their silence, their inconsistencies, their intentions, and even the darkness behind their smiles. You used to give people the benefit of the doubt. Now Allah shows you their reality before they can even reveal it. You used to ignore red flags. Now your soul screams when something is wrong. You used to explain yourself to people who never deserved access. Now you quietly withdraw the moment your spirit senses misalignment. And this elevation in intuition means that those who once tried to track, study, monitor, or influence, you find themselves hitting a divine wall every time they attempt to approach you, because Allah now warns you before the danger even reaches you. Your heart feels it, your dreams show it, your body reacts to it, your mind becomes restless around it, your peace gets disrupted by it, your chest tightens when you're near it, and your soul refuses to settle until you move away. And this is Allah protecting you on a level that no human can interfere with. Your intuition is not paranoia, it is divine guidance. It is not overthinking, it is spiritual clarity. It is not fear, it is a message from Allah that says, "This is not for you." And every time you obey this guidance, you step further into the destiny Allah prepared for you long before people formed opinions about you. And this is what terrifies them, because before, they could hide their jealousy, their envy, their hypocrisy, their manipulation, their intentions, and their plots behind sweet words and fake kindness. But now Allah exposes them before they can even act. You sense their energy shift, even when they pretend to support you. You recognize their hidden competition, even when they praise you. You see the envy in their eyes, even when they smile. And you feel the weight of their darkness, even when they try to blend in with light. They don't understand how you know what you know, how you see what you see, and how you catch what they never expected you to notice. So they fear you, avoid you, envy you, and resent you, because they cannot move around you the way they once did. And this intuition has also changed the way you make decisions. Before, you would rush. Now you pause, Before you would cling, now you release. Before you would seek clarity from people, now you seek clarity from Allah. Before you would ignore the signs, now you study them. Before you would override your spiritual instincts, now you treat them as sacred commands. And because of this, your path has become unpredictable to people who live on surface-level thinking, because they are operating from logic while you are operating from divine perception. They think materially, you think spiritually. They think short-term, you think eternal. They react to emotions, you respond from revelation. They follow crowds, you follow signals from Allah. And this shift in your internal navigation system has made you walk a path they cannot walk, understand, or monitor, because your steps are no longer influenced by what is visible. They are guided by what is unseen. Your intuition saves you from friendships that would have betrayed you, relationships that would have destroyed you, opportunities that would have deceived you, and paths that would have broken you. Every no you feel in your chest is protection. Every sudden discomfort is a sign. Every moment of hesitation is wisdom. Every unexpected delay is mercy. Every closed door is direction. And every strange feeling that turns you away from someone is Allah positioning you towards something better. And people who once had access to your emotions can no longer penetrate your boundaries, because your intuition spots their intentions before they even reveal them. And the truth is, this divine intuition is not something they can study, copy, or imitate. It can only be earned through sincere dua, painful purification, closeness to Allah, nights of crying, years of tests, inner rebirth, and spiritual elevation. It is not learned, it is gifted. It is not taught, it is transformed into you through struggle. It is not bought, it is bestowed by Allah to the hearts He chooses to protect. And this level of intuition makes you spiritually untouchable, because no matter how much someone pretends, manipulates, hides, or lies, Allah reveals the truth in your heart long before your mind understands it. And this is why they can't track you anymore. You move with divine knowing, not human logic. You navigate with internal light, not external noise. You see from the soul, not the eyes. You detect from the heart, not the surface. And when Allah becomes your guide, He closes your ears to lies, opens your eyes to truth, strengthens your heart against deception, and sharpens your intuition to a point where no enemy, no manipulator, no pretender, no hidden hater, and no jealous watcher can ever deceive you again. Your intuition is now a divine shield, and Allah has elevated it so high that anyone with bad intentions gets filtered out before they can even get close to you. And that is why they stand confused, frustrated, exposed, and powerless in the face of your spiritual rise. Chosen one, understand this with absolute clarity. When Allah becomes the one guiding your steps, directing your heart, safeguarding your path, and orchestrating every shift in your destiny, no human being on this earth, no watcher, no hater, no jealous soul, no hidden enemy, no family member pretending loyalty, no friend with a concealed agenda, no person obsessed with your downfall can track, predict, decode, or interfere with a journey that is divinely protected and spiritually veiled, because Allah does not allow His chosen ones to be exposed to the eyes of those who wish to manipulate them, harm them, or limit what He Himself is building inside them. This is why, lately, people who once felt they understood you are suddenly confused by you. They can't figure out your next move. They can't predict your reactions. They can't anticipate your growth. And they can't understand how you keep rising despite their assumptions, because they are still trying to read you on a human level while you are now moving on a divine frequency. They thought they had you figured out because you used to be predictable, open, responsive, emotional, and easy to gauge. But once Allah took over your path, your spirit shifted dimensions, your silence became a shield. your intuition became sharper, your decisions became wiser, and your presence became harder to access. What they don't realize is that when Allah hides someone, He hides their thoughts, their movements, their blessings, and even their timing from the people who do not deserve access to their spiritual elevation, and that's why everything about you now feels untraceable. Your breakthroughs come out of nowhere, your opportunities appear from the unseen, your protection feels supernatural, and your glow intensifies, no matter how much envy surrounds you. They monitor your social media, but they see nothing. They ask about you, but no one knows anything real. They try to provoke you, but you no longer react. They wait for your downfall, but Allah keeps raising you. They think you're quiet, but in reality, you're becoming powerful. They think you're distant, but in reality, you're being refined. They think you've disappeared, but in reality, you're being prepared. They think you're alone, but in reality, you're being surrounded by angels. They think they lost track of you, but in reality, Allah removed you from their reach. This is what happens when Allah guides a soul. Your steps become a mystery even to yourself. Your path becomes a series of miracles that unfold in silence, and your heart begins to move with a confidence that does not rely on human validation or understanding. You start taking decisions that do not make sense to anyone else, because they are coming from a place of divine inspiration, not human logic. You walk into situations with a strength people can't explain, because Allah is walking with you. You leave environments without giving reasons, because Allah already removed your soul from them. You cut ties without anger, because Allah already wrote the separation. You gain blessings without effort, because they were already decreed for you before you were even born. You escape traps because Allah dissolved them before they could reach you. And you rise in ways that terrify your enemies because they can see the results, but never the source. The truth is, chosen one, people can only track what is moved by human hands, but your life is being moved by the hand of the most merciful, the one who guides whom He wills, elevates whom He wills, protects whom He wills, and blinds whom He wills from harming the ones He loves. When Allah guides you, He confuses your enemies, blinds your haters, and misleads those who want to manipulate you. He removes you from their sight in the exact moment they look for you, and He exposes you only in moments He has written, not when they want to see you fall or fail. They wonder how you slipped out of the traps they carefully planned, but they forget that no one can outsmart the one who knows what every heart conceals. They wonder how you keep gaining strength after every hardship, but they don't know Allah was strengthening you in private for years. They wonder how you know things you were never told, but they don't know Allah gives intuition to the hearts He illuminates. They wonder why you stopped engaging in their drama, but they don't know Allah upgraded your soul to a higher spiritual altitude. And the most powerful part? They can't stop what Allah is guiding, even if they gather, even if they plot, even if they pray against you, even if they use envy, even if they use manipulation, even if they use gossip, even if they use spiritual darkness, because the story they are trying to interrupt was written by the Lord of all worlds, and no creation has the power to overwrite a decree written by the Creator Himself. That is why your journey is quiet, your movements are subtle, your blessings are hidden, and your direction is unpredictable, because Allah is personally guiding you away from traps toward elevation, through wisdom, through intuition, through divine timing, and through doors that no human can close. So, walk with calm certainty, chosen one. Your life is not meant to be tracked, understood, or accessible to everyone, because Allah reserved this guidance for you, and when Allah guides you, no one can ever reach you the way they once did. You are on a path only He can see, and that is your greatest protection and your greatest victory, chosen one. Now you understand why they can't track you anymore, why your growth is invisible to them, why your rise is untouchable, why your peace is unshakable, and why your destiny moves in ways only Allah Himself can orchestrate. Remember this: every moment of waiting, every test, every trial, every heartbreak, every silence, every setback, and every struggle was preparing you for this elevation. And Allah has not only protected you from those who sought to harm you, but has also shielded your path so perfectly that nothing can stop what He has written for you. They may talk, they may watch, they may envy, they may doubt, and they may try, but your light cannot be dimmed, your energy cannot be drained, your intuition cannot be deceived, and your destiny cannot be delayed, because Allah Himself guides every step you take. So walk boldly, quietly, and confidently, knowing that you are untouchable, untraceable, and unshakable, not because of what you do, but because of who walks with you. Keep trusting, keep elevating, keep protecting your energy, and keep moving with tawakkul, because the people who once monitored your life are now powerless witnesses to the unstoppable rise of a soul Allah Himself has chosen, guided, and perfected. And never forget, chosen one, they can't follow what Allah Himself is guiding. Your journey is yours alone, sacred, protected, and destined for greatness, and every step forward is proof that Allah's favor is on you. His mercy surrounds you, and His power is propelling you to heights they will never reach. Stand tall, move with faith, and know that this is just the beginning of the unstoppable story Allah is writing for you.